All right, welcome everybody to Believe Me Later. I am Booner. I've got my man Lukas here, Lukas Klotz. Yes, Klotz.
What is good? What is good?
JB in the booth over there, and in the mash chair we've got the one and only Chris. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed last week's episode. I feel like that was our very first. That was the first one we put out. We've already recorded like 3 or 4 now, but we finally put one out. I think it went well. I don't know how you guys thought.
It was exciting. I mean, obviously wasn't the most fluent at first. We were still talking about the name, but we have decided that Believe Me Later is the name. We're going to stick with it.
We're locked in.
Yeah.
I like that.
We talked ourselves into it after, because the whole premise of the show is you're going to hear us now, and even if you don't believe us now, you'll believe us later.
You almost messed that one up.
I did.
Yeah.
You fumbled.
You almost fumbled the bag. Why don't we, speaking of fumble bag, why don't we start by talking about this last weekend?
Oh,
I mean, come on.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Come on, I'd be remiss to not talk about, the boy's birthday. We went out. We had a good time.
Yep.
Shout out Sticking Easy also joined us. Hell of a night, Lukas.
It was. It was fun. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. You guys took me out for my 21st, wined me, didn't quite dine me, but I had a good time. But speaking of fumbles, I did. We went out. I happened to lose my sunglasses, which were returned today. I left them in Chris's car, so that was a relief. But I did happen to lose my wallet, which contained my ID.
Did you ever find it?
No. Yeah.
Oh man. I left the next morning. We were looking for it. I haven't heard anything since.
Yeah, we thought it was left in the grass, and so I was like, you know what, we were fucked up, so we were like, we're just gonna find it in the morning. And then the next morning there's snow on the ground, so we're like, we're gonna have to dig through the snow. So I'm going through the snow for probably like 20 minutes, cold as fuck, and still couldn't find it. And keep in mind, I live in Toledo, so it's like, all right, am I really gonna drive an hour and a half back and just call my wallet a lost cause? But that's what we did. Took an L, but had a good time. We'll be back.
I just want to go to Chris too,
soon,
because I think I kept going to Chris when we were at St. Andrews Hall, and I was so mesmerized in the basement where it was like Eminem. This is where the 8 Mile scene was,
sir.
And I was sitting there like I was looking at the stage like it was a celebrity. I was like, this is unbelievable.
You were
asking people.
He was mesmerized.
Dude,
for sure. It was funny.
Booner was a time, man. I was glad. That was my first time, obviously, going out with both of you. That was a hell of a time. You boys were fun, but yeah, Booner was mesmerized by the shelter. I've seen some dope performances there, but yeah, the shelter, that was one of the places we went to, which is right below St. Andrews Hall in Detroit. Again, shout out to Stick for coordinating everything. He made the night 10 times better. I mean, we were having a good time in Birmingham. And Stick's like, let's take it up a notch. Let's go to Detroit. He's plugged in. He's tapped in with the city. So, he made sure we were good all night. And it was dope. But we went to St. Andrews Hall, and then we went to Legends, and just
did our thing there.
Did our thing there.
We were probably out to what, like?
Oh yeah,
1 or 2. I had a good time.
I got home at like 3:40.
When we were at Legends, it was 2:00. We were like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. The next morning I was in a rough state. I woke up. I didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
I was in a bad spot.
I went out that next night. I went out to BG.
BG.
Yeah.
Bowling Green out with the college.
Brittany Griner free. Brittany Griner, she's free.
Did she just resign too? She just got signed, didn't she?
I don't know about all that.
No, she did.
Swear she just got.
I saw something about her in the news.
I believe it.
I mean,
she looks completely different now, though.
She's an MVP, though. I'm pretty sure. I want to look that up. She's legit, and she was like an MVP like recently too. It wasn't.
She better be. She could dunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's one of the only. I couldn't name you another player, but
I know Candace
she's
Parker.
The only one that I know that can. Yeah,
Candace Parker dunked back in her day.
She signed with the Phoenix
Mercury. I know
Mercury.
that name.
Yeah.
So she's back. Dang, that's wild.
I think that's
I think Phoenix had a loaded team too. That's
Phoenix
crazy.
Mercury is Al Davis's team, and he's like going broke right now, so that's probably why she signed.
Al Davis, like the Vegas owner.
Yeah, he owns. That.
Remember when?
The Raiders owner?
Y'all remember when Brittany Griner said she could beat DeMarcus Cousins and everybody was like,
she beat the case.
Chill out.
I don't know if you want to say that. I think would you consider Brittany Griner's case beaten? No. Because we did send back like not a warlord, but a gun lord.
Well, she
like
got
some real life war dog
convicted and went to prison.
Yeah, but then she got out.
Yeah,
and now she's playing in the WNBA.
Because she got out for a trade. She didn't get out.
I agree. So would you say that
she was convicted for sure?
But do you think as a whole,
she's traded and released?
That's the case.
She's traded and released.
So
that happens in sports all the time.
It's like a sign and trade.
Yeah.
But would you say that she took an L there, or did she take a dub?
I mean, she took an L for the decision she made to just be there with that kind of stuff and get caught. Yes, but like overall, I mean, I'm all jokes aside, like I'm happy. I mean that was a crazy cruel punishment, and you got to imagine that being in a foreign country, you're not exactly welcome in the prison population system. So
I would be
Lord knows
shook
what she had to go through.
if that happened to me, any country, if I went to jail outside of the
especially
United States,
Russia, one that U.S. let's keep it a buck has some tension with.
Yeah,
especially
so recently.
Yeah.
JB, do you think she was? What was the question? I don't even know.
Do you think Brittany
that.
Griner took an L or took a dub on her case?
Probably an L, just for how long she sat in prison over there. Like, that was a long time. Like, that's got to be rough. I can't even imagine what prison's like in Russia, to be honest with you. So
yeah, it's probably nuts.
I don't know if she got fully off and beat this case, but still at the same time, like, I think you took an L because how long she's been over there, how much money she's lost in that whole time period. Like, I don't know if her wife is working or not, but still at the same time, like,
brutal.
you lost a lot of cash.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a dub in here, and here's why. I'll relate it to women.
Here we go. Let's hear it, Chris.
So there's been those situations. I'm sure, fellas, you've been in that situation. Maybe you gave your heart to a girl that didn't deserve it, and it still didn't work out. It still didn't work out. But in the long run, you know that she can't do better. So it is a dub. It is a dub.
I don't know how that didn't.
I'm trying to think of the process how that works.
Yeah, what are?
I'm speaking of a very specific situation of mine, but I feel like it's universal.
Do you want to go in detail on it?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. She don't need that. She don't need that attention.
Hey, Chris,
Why do I feel like she's turning into a
He
Drake
wants to
song?
hear about.
She ain't
your
worth it.
comparison from your situation to Brittany Griner's situation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she originally took the L for getting the sentence, right? And like that, but she got the dub because now she's home and she's better off. She didn't have to serve the whole commitment.
Two sides to it. I see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
It wasn't the best
She took a
analogy, but
risk.
it's where my head went.
She took a risk.
We got to
took a loss.
We figured it out.
But then took a dub.
Yeah.
So she kind of did it all there. So
and now she's a
home free
hero.
now.
Yeah. Now
right.
she's hooping again. So let's our kind of weekly topics now. The hot headlines, cold convos. We'll go around the room again. We'll start with the hot headlines again here. Lucas, you lead us off every week.
My hot headline, it's not really for the player, but Carson Wentz was released today. We can get a round of applause if you agree. I cannot stand Carson Wentz. I don't understand why he was ever re-signed for that amount of money in Indianapolis, and then to give him a chance after what you saw in Indianapolis, where I think it was very similar to what happened with Matt Ryan, where he single-handedly sunk a franchise, and then he should have been cut after week 2 when they played the Lions, right? Or was that week 3? But my point proven, he couldn't put up yards in the first half against the Lions defense, which at that point was by far the worst defense in the league. And Taylor Heineke, who I like him, he's a dog in here, but talent level, I mean, honestly, Carson Wentz probably has more talent, but Carson Wentz can't put it together like Taylor Heineke. So the fact they released him, saved him a lot of cap space. I think Sam Howell has some potential. I don't know how to think about him right now, but Commanders took a hefty W today by releasing Carson Wentz.
I texted you after you said you were going to talk about this, and I said I fought for Carson Wentz a couple years ago.
I could see a couple years ago
in Philly. I was big on Carson.
I can understand that.
Well, even when he went to the Colts, I was like, he give the man a chance. Like he was an MVP once, and that take just kind of backfired on me pretty bad.
That's how. It's hard to disagree with that though, and that's why I can't stand Carson Wentz because, like, he had so many opportunities where he could have won, and I can't think of why he wasn't able to. Like, it's not like he's a dumb individual whatsoever. Like, when you hear him talk, like, you can tell he's got a brain there. He's not dumb, and he's got the size, and then he's got all the talent in the world. At least you saw it in Philadelphia. I get he tore his ACL, but you saw the arm talent there, and now that's just evaporated. So I think Carson Wentz should just retire. I think he should try to go into some media personality if he wants to, because I think it's not worth being just that travel quarterback that's just going to be from bum team to bum team.
He should just be a backup, or he should just be on a bum team. He'll make millions still, and I don't want to see him on TV.
He's so bad. He's just going to embarrass himself.
That's fine. I don't want to
I
see
mean,
him
if
on
that's what he
TV
wants
though.
to, if he's a competitor and that's what he wants to do, that's fine. But I just think for his sake and just for his overall state of mind, he's going to get mocked in the league. For
That's
years
true.
to
He's
come.
going to go from team to team.
Yeah, he's just going to be thrown around like a hooker. That's
Oh,
Carson
yeah.
Wentz is that cinnamon. He's the ginger
Carson
hooker of the
Wentz, the
NFL.
hooker.
That's what he's going to be. Colin Cinnamon.
That's such a trash hooker name.
That's
Chris
what it is.
JB.
What was the one the other night? Carol.
Oh my God! Yeah, wait. There was that girl that was Carol.
Yeah.
Dude.
What?
Like, how could your government? How could your government? Because I assume that's not her government. How could
If
your
it
government
is-
be less of a stripper name than Carol?
I don't
Like
know.
Ashley. Okay, that's way more of a stripper name than Carol.
Brianna.
Trying to think.
Brianna.
Oh, that's a bad.
Anything other than Carol.
Yeah, Carol's like a. I mean, it's like
Susan is like the only thing that's worse.
Bridget's pretty bad.
that's just like an old lady's name, Carol. Like a grandma.
That's what I'm saying.
She could have had Caroline. Could have been better than that. You know, what I
Caroline
mean?
would have been better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Caroline
It's my
sounds.
grandma's name, but she
Caroline
said
sounds
that.
fine.
Hot headline or JB? Chris JB? Do you guys
hot
have one?
headline.
Yep.
So Tim Bontemps did his straw poll for MVP. He does this every year. He collects a bunch of people who have either voted in the past, basically people who may end up voting for the actual MVP award in the NBA. And he does it every, I think, like 20 games or so. And so this last straw poll had Jokic as a resounding favorite to win the MVP, to the point where, barring some catastrophic injury, it's more than likely that Jokic will be the MVP. And that is now 3 straight, back-to-back, joining the company of Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell.
That's wild.
So
That's great.
That's crazy.
I'm taking it you want him to win the MVP.
I think it'd be
No,
cool to see.
I think he's deserving of it. I should say.
Oh, deserving 100%.
Okay.
Want? No. Just because I don't,
Really?
as great as Jokic is, I don't hold him in that esteem. Like, that's where the conversation has to go.
Why don't you though? Because I mean, 3 MVP. He already has 2.
Right.
The only thing he doesn't have is a championship.
Exactly.
So by the end of his career, if he has 2 championships, say he does.
Then okay, then it makes sense. But right now, where he's at, I'm not rooting against Jokic. He's my second favorite player to watch in the league.
There's really
So,
no reason to root against
there's
him.
no reason
Who
to
would you
root
say
against him.
instead of Jokic? If you're not, you know what I mean. Like if you're like, I don't want him to win 3 straight. Who's your guy that you think should?
I think that we are going to look back historically and wonder how Giannis didn't get more MVPs.
Really?
I think so. I truly think so. I think.
But like,
when I look at top 15, top 20 players all time, Jokic is absolutely going to be in that conversation.
Yep.
Or surrounding it because of the now 3 MVPs. Even if he doesn't win in the playoffs, like 3 MVPs automatically puts you there, and that's my point.
yeah.
Giannis, I know for sure, is a top 15 all-time player when it's said and done. Like right now, he is in that conversation. He is in that realm for me, especially if he gets another ring. So, that's why I'd like to see it go there. But obviously, you have to play the patient game. You have to see how it plays out because, like I said, if Jokic gets even 1 ring, let alone 2, with those 3 MVPs, then
Right.
you are talking. Is he better than? You're putting him in the class of Tim Duncan. And then you're putting
What
him
about,
like
like,
top
Hakeem?
15.
How many
What do you
MVPs
think,
does
like-
Tim Duncan
Like
have?
Hakeem is slightly below Tim Duncan to me, so you can put that.
Really? Think
Yeah.
so?
Oh, absolutely.
Now I would
I
say
don't
this
know
though,
about
Luka
that.
Doncic. I think this year he should be second. I'm surprised that he's not. I mean,
It
he's
seems not
averaging
winning enough.
33, 8 and 8, or 9 and 8.
It seems not winning enough, and that's what
Yeah,
it comes
but
down
like,
to.
I mean, Jokic's team okay? That they're first in the West.
They're first in
Yeah.
the West in a loaded Western Conference, and they are by far. They have a 5.5 game lead right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. He's the best player on the best team,
And he's
Yeah.
averaging a triple double, which is insane.
And
they're-
it's crazy efficiency and all of this stuff. Like Jokic is the man. I don't want any of this to be construed as otherwise. But
Yeah.
I'm a historical guy. I like to look at the long term view of it. And I don't like to look back and be like, damn, that MVP is crazy, or damn, this person shouldn't have won, or blah, blah. And again, I should have patience and say, let's see how Jokic's career plays out. But right now, I would kind of actively root against it just a little bit, just because I think
Who do you
there's
think
guys
it
like
is?
Giannis I think are going
So
to
you
be
think
higher up
Giannis?
all time.
What do you? Okay, so I talk about this with Ryan in the back all the time, and his thing is, and I can see it, but you're more of an NBA head than I am, so I want to get your true opinion on it. And I think this is a knock from a lot of people that aren't really on Giannis's side when they say that he just uses his size to get to the free throw line, and that's how he creates his points more so than his actual scoring presence. And do you think that's why like he doesn't win the MVP, quote unquote, compared to Jokic, because he has a skill set that's getting him there rather than a size?
No. Jokic is winning the MVP right now because his team has looked like start to finish so far in this NBA season, or start to current day, I should say. His team has looked a lot better. Milwaukee has had a lot of rough stretches so far this season, and Giannis has actually missed some games too. So there is that to keep in mind. Like, there's a lot of reasons why Jokic is winning it. Also, the efficiency, again, expectations is a big thing. Everybody expected, Milwaukee to be one of the best, if not the best in the East. People had Denver anywhere from 4 and 5 to the best. There was more range to it. So those are the factors on why Jokic is better. Is leading Giannis in the MVP race. But again, Giannis is a two-time. He's a two-way player that has a lot of ability, and again, he makes up for a lot of it on the defensive end. And as far as the skill thing, he's a very skilled player.
Giannis has won the MVP twice already when his team was the best in the league.
Yeah, and already has a ring.
Yeah. And he has a ring. So like he's won it twice. I don't think it's just because his size. Like he has the skill set. He obviously can't shoot, but like if you watch him play, like he's still very, very skilled. He's not obviously like Jokic where he can pass as well and do all those smaller things like Jokic does. Great. But I mean, he's still the MVP, two-time MVP for a reason.
Yeah,
100%.
So,
and I think he's proven himself to be the greatest, the best player in the league, and I think you got to dethrone that. And I think Jokic, while he's playing great and by all metrics should be an MVP this season, I do think context matters. I do think the fact that Giannis has been there, and I don't hold Jokic against him because of last year what did he have? Absolutely nothing. Or was that 2 years ago now?
No, last year.
Last year when he had absolutely nothing. So like, I don't necessarily fully hold it against him, but Giannis has been there. We know this. If Jokic never gets there, say Denver gets bounced in the second round or something, that at three-time MVP, it looks bad on his resume, and I wouldn't want that because I like Jokic.
It's like that Aaron Rodgers talk.
Then let me shoot you one more question. If you were NBA GM, lottery draft, whatever, fantasy draft, are you taking Giannis or Jokic to build your team with?
I'm taking, like, factoring in their ages right now.
Yeah, so if you're going to go, let's say this season gets over. Let's say Suns win it, so it's kind of irrelevant to Giannis and Jokic. If you had to pick one right now, would you take Giannis or Jokic to start a team with?
I go back and forth with it. I really do, because here's the thing about I would take Giannis because Giannis is the better overall player to me. But Jokic, think about Jokic is, man, the way he plays, he just don't get hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get hurt, and that's so valuable.
The way his body is.
We've never seen a non-defensive great center lead a team to a championship. Yeah. We've never seen it. Like Dirk was a power forward. That's kind of the closest thing to Jokic. But their play styles are different. But like, we've never seen that formula work. We've seen the Giannis formula work. So I would take Giannis, but I'm not mad at somebody taking Jokic because he's always available. I think he's never going to get hurt. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's a question that can go either way.
And that's going to help him, like when we're talking about possible rings down the road, like just in the longevity, like in years 12, 13, 14, like he's going to be playing at a higher level just because he's avoiding those injuries, and he's only going to get fundamentally better as it goes on, so it's going to help him even more. But so we spent a lot of time on that, but JB, what is your hot headline of the week?
Well, I went a completely different direction than you guys went, but I'm going to need your guys' help on this one.
All right.
This man must be stopped at all costs.
What is it?
Pete Davidson. You must stop this man
Lucas's
right now.
twin.
He has sitting here taking down Kate Beckinsale, Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, and now, rumor has it, Ice Spice. How many more Infinity Stones?
Give it to him. No.
How much more? This man must be stopped at all costs, damn it.
I mean, I'm at the point where I just want to see, like, how many celebrities can this man just be with at this point? Yeah. How old is he?
Honestly, I don't know. He's probably pushing early. He's got to be like early 30s.
He might be the Hugh Hefner of our generation.
Could be.
I mean, JP, come on,
for me.
You know what I mean? Like,
man might be our Prince, for real. Everybody thought it was Drake.
Yeah, I've been hating on him.
His
Everybody-
ex-girlfriend, Jennifer
honest,
Aniston,
but-
like, he's going to keep this thing going.
And I'll be honest, just because, look, I've been like that before, where it's just like, I want a little flavor in my life, and the fact that he got a little flavor, and right now it's the top tier of how you can get some. So
I thought you were going to go the path you were saying, like you got with Kim K or something.
No, I'm respecting his game, that he's branching out of his ethnicity.
Dude's a legend. Dude's a legend. No matter how you,
he's
no matter
however he wants.
He's already, as Drake would say, body in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He is. He's like 28 or maybe 30 or something, but he's young.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
JB, that was a good one.
That is a
I
good
like
one.
that.
JB wants to stop the man.
He's still
Shout out
mad.
this
He's
man
still- Well,
at
so
all
what do you have against him? I want to hear a detailed response of why this angers
That he
you.
smashed those girls.
That he smashed Kim K, my future wife. That's what it is.
That's crazy. The lawyer,
JB.
All right. Well, that was
Let the
fun.
man live. Let him keep going.
Well, that was fun
JB, it's
for
not
sure.
about who's first. It's about who's last, my boy. Keep your head up.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Keep your head up.
All right.
Well, we kind of touched on it. We just talked a bunch of NBA, so we're going to hop right back into it. LeBron. It's been
Do you
announced-
want my hot headline?
Oh, yeah.
And we have cold combos. Unless did everyone go
Fuck
through
me.
that?
No.
Does
I
everyone
don't have a
one?
cold
Keep it-
combo.
You got a quote?
I don't got
You
one.
don't? JB, do you have a cold convo? I have one.
I have one, but
I have two
Yeah.
things. So my hot headline is when this comes out, what it will be? It'll be March 3rd. When this comes out, March 4th.
Possibly around there.
I don't know if I'm the
Figure
only
it
one
out.
in here, Chris maybe, but March Madness is absolutely back. To me,
It's absolutely back.
That's the biggest headline. It seems like every show at Woodward's like, screw March Madness. We don't watch college basketball. I love college basketball. It's
Yeah.
like one of the best things. You get buzzer beaters. Like right now, these next 2 weeks, you're going to have like fans storming the court. You're going to have, you have everything. Selection Sunday, brackets.
I
like,
love selection.
Oh, I
Sunday.
love doing brackets.
Dude, I love March
brackets.
Madness. I gamble so much on March Madness. Last year, I made so much money doing March Madness. That's the hottest thing in sports right now is March Madness.
I'm with you. I love it. I'm excited for it. I love the bracketology. I love all that
best.
shit. I don't watch college basketball, but I watch March Madness.
I used to
enjoy
be in college basketball heavy. I used to be like a big North Carolina fan, like Marcus Page. Those Marcus
on,
Page
bro.
day, I used to love UNC.
Come on, bro.
Roy
That's
Williams to
no.
go.
All right, let's just
I
move
love
on
him,
from
bro.
that. Cold combos. I don't want to listen to this. Man. All right, cold combos. I'll go here. We'll just go around quick here. You said you don't have one, Chris. My cold convo right now in the NFL is all of these players getting cut and traded, like all this stuff going on recently, like Marcus Mariota. I have a list here of players I think that will get cut. Like Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, he just got
He's
cut.
supposed to be getting cut.
he gone.
Galladay gone. I think
As he should. Let's make that very clear.
He gone.
100%.
I think
I don't
I
even
saw
know where he's
something
gonna end up.
that so he signed for like 3-4. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 years, $72 million. And if you did the mathematics of it all, Kenny Galladay's touchdown reception was worth $32 million. They only had one. That is insane to think about. That you signed a man for
How many
32
catches has he had?
under 20.
Like, how much per catch has he made in New York?
It was a couple 100,000. I could be wrong, but I think it was like 600,000 to 800,000 per catch.
Gee, let me run like 3 routes. let me run like 3 routes. I don't know if I'll even be open. I probably won't be open, but let me try.
That will be over
honestly,
for a
try.
few years.
Do you think
Let me hit a curl.
Do you think he'll sign somewhere?
Yeah, but he's not going to get signed for a lot. Like, I don't know if he's like a scrub to where it's like he's out of the league, but like he's going to be a third receiver on a team.
Yeah,
I think he just got in over his head. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is.
100%.
He needs to get in the right situation, like Kansas City or like
That's what
Buffalo.
that's where I
like,
was thinking.
Yeah.
Put him on Buffalo. He's a third guy there where Sammy
Put
Watkins
him with
was.
arguably the greatest quarterback ever. Yeah, that'll
That'll help him out a lot.
He let the mini. Remember, he had that Minitron hype coming out in like his second, third season, where they saying he was the next Kelvin.
It's kind of
Fucking disrespectful. It's just
Disrespectful.
The up and down
And
of
I
his
love
career.
Kenny. One of the reasons I wore 19 in high school. I don't really understand what he thought was going to happen when he left Detroit. Yeah, I said it.
Did this man just say he wore?
He was a dog.
All right.
What else did the Lions have? It was him and Marvin Jones. 11 was already taken, so I had to pick a number,
that's
and I
fair.
played
That's
receiver.
tough.
Can I
That's
go?
fair.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
through this list real quick, and tell me if you think that they get cut.
Okay.
All right, ready? Zeke Elliott.
No, I don't think they're going to cut him. I think they should, but
I forgot about his hate with Zeke. That is all. I completely forgot.
I don't have the horn with
show
me,
that
but
hasn't been
hold on.
released.
I don't have the
throw
horn
your
with me,
horn.
but
That's on a show that it hasn't been released, so no one here. If anyone wants to know, Chris hates
fuck
Zeke.
that man.
He might be the biggest Zeke hater.
Got
No,
it.
he's
Yeah.
not.
All right, next guy, Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, yeah, I think he will get cut.
Cut?
Just for the money, and he's always, like, there's some noise around him.
We got two more. Khalil Mack.
Yeah, they have to. If they want to be a functional organization, they need to.
All right, last one. NFC North. Vikings.
Okay.
Adam Thielen.
That's tough because he's kind of like, I don't know who you'd compare him to, but like that's their hometown guy. Like he went to Minnesota State.
Been there too.
Been there for
forever.
a while. He's been consistent, but I think we saw KJ Osborne take a step this season, especially as Lions fans. We saw that. So yeah, I don't know if it's a guarantee. I think he's the least likely out of the names that you did give up, but he's definitely.
I think
he's definitely on the watch for sure.
Yeah, he's a luxury. He's one of those luxuries.
He's a red
that you
zone
cut.
demon though, bro.
Yeah.
he is. I mean, yeah, I don't know how many touchdowns he had this year, but it's like it seems like any time they're inside the 10, it's like just a quick slant to him, and he punches it in every
100%.
time.
Help me out of my fantasy.
That's why.
Yeah,
We're not going to get into this argument again, but that's why Justin Jefferson doesn't have all those touchdowns. Adam Thielen. All right,
That's
next
crazy.
We're not
cold combo. What do you have? Let's go around this
All
quick.
right, cold combo. This is low-key kind of a serious one for legal reasons, but Commanders owner Dan Snyder, he just got caught up with a $55 million loan where he took the Commanders' money and was kind of doing whatever the fuck he wanted to it, and that included a $4.5 million purchase of the Commanders logo going on his private jet. So, and not only that, the whole organization wants him gone. The fans, everybody but Dan Snyder wants himself out of D.C. And Bezos, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, if I'm not right, I'm not being retarded here, am I?
Yeah.
He owns Amazon. Bezos owns
Yes.
Amazon, right? Yeah. So he tried to put in an offer, and Schneider declined it. So now he's kind of just holding his, like, he's just kind of fucking around with everybody. And I think the Commanders are a loaded team with young talent. You have Chase Young, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. You can go down the list. They have skilled players everywhere, especially on that front seven. And I think he's just screwing them just for a pride reason. I think he just needs to hop off and just take the L. He's got some legal trouble coming. I think he's trying to extend his fight.
I saw a tweet today. I'm pretty sure that he could end up going to prison and still owning the team.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
wild.
It's
Like
insane because he doesn't even own the whole team.
He's
He
in a-
owns 40% of it.
There's like a lawsuit though of like $55 million where he like wrongfully took the money or something.
Yeah,
all of that. But it's like he might not end up selling the team or his part of the team and just go to like get convicted and go to prison.
Yeah, and that's just
Damn.
crazy because
That'd
he'd
be
still be
crazy.
making. I mean, I could be crazy, but wouldn't he still be making money in prison if he owns the team?
Well,
No,
it'd
yeah,
be going to his
definitely.
account,
You know what I
but
mean?
what can he do with
Someone
it?
would be running it for him.
Yeah.
Like
That's
you
just
know,
wild.
That's crazy. JB, what's the cold combo you have?
Well, once again, I went left with this one as well too. But Jake Paul ain't shit. Everybody, he finally lost his first fight, and now we can all stop watching this man to see him lose a fight because you know what? No one really cared. We just wanted to see him get knocked out or take an L, and he finally did. So damn,
All right, I'll
there
speak
you
for
have it.
yourself.
I like
I'm
that
going to
one.
say this. I'm a Paul stan. I'm going to stand with Ohio on this one, but I'm still convinced. I don't know a lot about boxing. I just know though, like how long has he been boxing for? 5 or 6 years?
No, not that long.
All right, less.
Yeah.
But my point is like he hasn't been training that long. Some of these guys, Tommy Fury has been training his whole life boxing.
Right.
Like, some of these guys that are in boxing have been going forever. I do think he ends up bouncing back. I'm interested to see whether or not he like who he fights next and like what he continues to do because
I mean, know.
if he gets experience like 6-7 years and he kind of keeps going, I do think there's something there.
I don't know.
He's got the power.
It's going to be hard for him to keep his mind on fighting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he has so many
done it
things that
for
could.
years
He's starting
now.
that better. You know what I mean? Like he's going to have his mind on so many
Yeah.
things. I think.
That's
gonna be hard.
fair. I don't know. He's been doing
I'm
it
not
for
saying
years.
he shouldn't, but I just think for him, like it's not even worth it. Like you prove that you could fight. You're obviously never going to be on like a professional level where it's going to be like your Khabib or McGregor or something.
Yeah,
you made your
100%.
bag. You literally made $30 million off of losing. Take the L happily. I would consider that
he's
a
gonna
W.
keep fighting just so every fight he makes that much. Like he's gonna keep people are like JB.
He wants
Next time
to.
he fights, I know you're tuning in. Don't lie to me. You're gonna
No.
be tuned in. Like, is he gonna get knocked out again?
No, definitely.
Come on,
I'm not tuning in to see him get knocked out again. All I wanted to see is him lose one fight, and then that's it. That's all fine with me. I don't care if he made
JB's
So,
$30 million
so
off of
JB,
his
tell me,
bag.
if
but
it's Conor McGregor, Jake Paul boxing match, you're just gonna be like, no, I'm good.
damn it, why'd you have to do that, man? why you got to pull Conor McGregor into this?
Jake Paul, Floyd Mayweather, you're just gonna be like, no, I'm good.
Floyd, no. I can care less about Floyd.
But you know,
Conor, yeah, okay, I'm in.
Because Floyd won't even knock him out. That's my issue. Like
that is, yeah.
It'd be
like
forever.
that would be the boring part of the fight. Is like, yeah, like if you're somebody that's rooting to watch Jake Paul get his ass whooped, like Floyd ain't gonna do it. Floyd's just gonna poke, walk around, poke. Like he's just gonna do that all night and just like come home without a scratch on his face. And that's just going to be what it is. So that'd
It'd be a
boring.
boring ass fight.
But
yeah.
McGregor would be more just because the way McGregor talks shit and all that. But
you guys know though, like he's gonna find the right opponent for his next fight.
He will,
Like,
and I think
the right opponent?
I don't know. Like he's gonna find someone, and you're gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, oh, I have to watch this. Like for a fact,
Maybe.
like the Paul brothers are like
They'll create some beef.
insane. They're insane marketers, dude. They're gonna have another fight ready to go to make.
I got one.
Who do you think, JP?
Jake Paul versus Manny Pacquiao. Bam.
Dang. Or what
That'd
about
be
this?
another one though. Or
What
just
about
be
I
this?
love Pacquiao.
Jake Paul versus Logan Paul. You're tuning in.
No.
You're tuning in.
That honestly, that would be something
I really
Booner
don't
would get
care about
excited
one of the
about.
brothers. Don't.
Bro, you're telling me if they're like the Paul brothers are about to fight, you're not gonna go
this.
watch that?
No. I could have.
They're gonna
so
make-
much better things.
They're
going
gonna
on
make
with my day.
$50 million off of what? Some shit they did growing up at home.
Bro, you guys are lying right to my face.
Dude,
right
I would
now.
watch like the highlights of
You would-
the
you
people
guys
that
would
were like,
tune
oh
in.
my god! But honestly, like it would affect my life in zero way if I heard that they were
Bro,
fighting.
that
Just for the exact
well,
reason
for
that
you,
Chris just said.
You're from Ohio. You should tune in. It should be a
But
requirement.
I'm telling you, like that should be even more point for me telling you, like you should
Oh
not
my
give a
gosh.
fuck.
If you're
about
watching this, comment. I
No
know.
one
I
is
know
going to
anyone
care
would
about
watch that
this.
fight. That's like the one fight with Conor that I think everyone would be like, yeah, I'm in.
No.
That was a good one, JB. That was awesome.
JB was on one.
Yeah, that was a
You
good
were
one.
off.
Let's just move to the next. Let's go to
Yep.
the NBA. We got
Yeah,
NBA.
so
topics.
yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit. Booner corrected me as he should, but now we're gonna get hopping
Jumped a
right
little
back
bit.
into the NBA.
Man, you hopped over that.
We're
thing.
we're still working on timing and pace.
Yeah,
on
there we
that.
go. It'll come.
It'll come.
Pause.
All right,
pause.
let's hit this NBA talk.
But
Hey, yo.
as I kind of touched on before, LeBron,
Hey yo.
he's out for a couple weeks.
Dead.
So I think this is huge for the Lakers. Obviously, they were 12 sitting in the West, and they were only one game ahead of the Thunder, who I think, as time goes on, is going to get better because they're a younger team. And I think the Lakers are clearly now out of playoff contention. They're not going to have money. Patrick Beverly just requested a trade today as well. So I think
Again?
No.
Patrick Beverly's not on their team.
No, he's mistaken. I know what you're talking about.
What am I-
He went on a podcast and said he requested a trade from the Lakers, and he's already on the Bulls.
what am I fucking thinking? My
Yeah.
mind's in La La Land.
They
I'm
just
thinking.
released
I
that
was
today.
just looking.
They just
yeah,
talked.
yeah.
He talked about that and came out today. But I'm with
Yeah,
you though with
that
the
was
Lakers.
dumb.
I mean, I don't know. And Chris, I would like your and JP's opinion on this because, I mean, Lucas says that they're completely out. I still think they have a chance.
Oh, they're definitely in. Because
No
they're
way.
also 2 games away, 2.5 games right now. I'm looking at the standing away from avoiding the playing game
Yeah.
altogether.
Like I do think,
Like-
and especially this, LeBron, like he comes back healthy, right?
Yeah.
They're in a play-in game. You don't want to play LeBron and the Lakers.
And they have 12 home games and 9 road games and a pretty favorable schedule down the way. So I think they definitely can survive this.
No
but
way.
for the people that are thinking that the Lakers can do something in the playoffs, I just think that's long gone. I do like the moves they made. I like the roster. It makes more sense. I think they're a much better team. But to count on LeBron and Anthony Davis both being healthy and at their best in the playoffs
That's fair.
is tough.
You don't think-
and then not to mention, the other guys on the roster that have been hurt, the D'Angelo Russells and all of that. So
Right.
it's a
AD.
good team. It's a good team now. Like I want to be clear. I think that the Lakers, the trade they made, like that Vanderbilt kid is awesome.
He's legit.
Jared
Yeah.
He is
Nice.
he is awesome, and he is doing a lot of good stuff for them. He's been interesting with LeBron and AD. That's just a 3 defensive juggernaut.
They're up one on the Grizzlies
You
right
like
now.
to see that.
Are they?
But
They're up?
they're not going to do that.
I do think though, and you have to admit, and I know you say, "Oh, you don't know if they can win in the playoffs." That's a team though that can flip the switch, and if they do stay healthy, they could win a playoff series easily.
Not in the West this
a
year.
series,
no.
yeah.
Because
Like-
think about it.
Like the Nuggets don't want to see them or the Warriors.
I think
in
the
first
Nuggets
round.
would be perfectly fine. Seeing
They
them.
might be fine
because
but
they have,
those are 2 teams you do not want to see.
Yeah,
in the
you wouldn't
playoffs.
prefer to, but I mean, in the
it's-
West, I mean, the West is tough. Like you got the Warriors and the Lakers, who could potentially be 7 and 8 seeds. Like that gets dicey.
I would be way more.
You're rooting for
the
Minnesota
Warriors.
or somebody to sneak
The Warriors,
in.
yeah, if they're healthy, but they have the same issues right now too, is health. But like if they're healthy, yeah, I would be worried.
Just
about
into
that.
it, like they, I think when you talk about the flip the switch, if they flip the switch, they can be better than any other team in the NBA.
The Lakers?
No, the Warriors.
The Warriors.
Oh, the Warriors.
That's a fact.
I mean, it is, but it just seems like it's one of those things where it seems like it's not that year.
Don't you feel
I
like we were
agree
talking
with you,
about
but
that the
Just
last 2
like a
years with
couple
them,
years ago, yeah, and that's what I was going to bring up is the fact that this might be a team that in 4 years did finals, miss playoff, finals, miss playoff. That's a wild, like 4-year ride.
You think you're talking about the Lakers?
The Warriors.
Oh, okay, okay,
I have
okay.
a point about the Warriors too. I don't know if anyone else has thought about this, but I was watching them the other night. Obviously, Steph's out. Like a bunch of their guys are out. It's only Clay and all of these young.
Which Clay looks awesome, by the way.
He's been hooping.
Defensively not there, but offensively
He'll
he's there.
get back though. He'll hopefully.
I don't know. I
think that's where the edge is going to be lost is
Yeah.
defense.
I hope not.
But he's fine.
He used to lock up.
He's still
look
fine.
at all the great shooters, and it's not a knock on them. I just think if you look at all the great shooters historically, as they get older, the defense just
He-
and
It's
harder
the
to keep
injuries.
up.
You got to think about what the injuries were. They're both like
Knee.
burst injuries that affect your speed and your movement, and that's going to affect him more on defense than on offense when he's just a shooter.
So my point here is, in the last couple of years with the Warriors, they have all of these guys. Their top 3 or 4 guys, they get paid a ton of money, and they're constantly bringing in these younger rookies, 1 year, 2 year guys that are on $1 million contracts. The fact that every year these guys get hurt, right? Like Clay's been hurt, Draymond's out a ton of games every year, Steph's been out a ton of games every year, but every year they win, they end up being healthy when it comes down the stretch. And I think it's going to be a similar thing this year. But what kind of helps them out is these young guys get so much playing time during the regular season to when Steph's healthy, when Draymond's healthy, when Clay's back, Kevin Looney's healthy. Like, these guys come back healthy. You have guys that have been starting all season long on top of these Hall of Fame players.
They're a good team. They're a really good team, and I don't want to say that they can't do it. I just don't think it's happening because for months now, all season, damn near, we've been looking at the Warriors like, okay, they're gonna have that stretch where everybody's healthy and they're gonna rip off some games and they're gonna look impressive and all of that stuff. I mean, you got Andrew Wiggins with the personal reasons, you got Steph with the injuries. It just seems like it's not their year. Not that they're not capable, but it just it's not their year. I would be shocked. Would I want to see them if I was Denver, if I was Memphis, if I was the Sacramento Kings? Shout out to Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, seriously.
Still third in the standings. No, I wouldn't want to see them in the first round or at any point in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to see them. But do I think that they're going to do it? No, it seems like too much is against them this year. Too much momentum and that kind of stuff matters.
So who do you guys have then winning the West? With all it's stacked. The West, I mean, both sides kind of the top of the East, but the West is stacked.
You're
Denver.
talking about coming out of the regular season or
going to the
finals?
Going to the finals, winning the Western Conference.
I was debating between Phoenix and Denver. I'm going to go with Phoenix for the plain fact I think they have more depth at scoring and experience when it comes to like big games. I mean, you got Chris Paul, you have Kevin Durant. That's really all you need. And I think when you stack that up against, I mean, like you were saying, you can't knock Jokic in every way. He's probably the most complete big man in the league. I don't think you can contest that right now. And so it's hard to play against that, but then you think about Jamal Murray. Very nice player, and we've seen him do things in the playoff, especially in the bubble. But then you have Chris Paul, who's going to be able to play great defense. And I don't know who they have that's going to be able to stop in any way, shape, or form Kevin Durant if he gets cooking. I think DeAndre Ayton, he's not going to be able to stop Jokic completely, but I think he'll be able to slow him down a little bit. And then if you're able to slow him down, who's going to be able to shoot with Devin Booker? Who's going to be able to just the key players that they have in scoring option, I don't think Denver is going to be able to keep up with, as well coached as they are.
Chris, who do you have?
It's tough because the logic all says Phoenix. Like the on paper, the how they fit, everything says Phoenix. But I'm going with Denver because I just believe that continuity matters. And I think that these guys have played together now for years on end. And as long as they stay healthy, I think that is going to be a huge difference in the playoffs is when KD and Booker and Chris Paul are all still learning how to gel. Right. And I do think that Kevin Durant is one of those players that is easier to fit in than other superstars. So I do expect less of a learning curve. But still, you're talking they get 20 games max together, and then it's playoff time. Less than that by the time KD is back. So
Brooklyn
it's going to be one of those things where, yes, they have all the talent in the world. I like the way they match up, but I think they need a year. Most super teams, or whatever you want to call them, take time. The only ones that have ever won together off rip are Boston and the Golden State Warriors when Kevin Durant went there. But they also, both of those had a full off season and regular season.
And the West wasn't even close to what it was
KD
right now.
is also, again, trying to come back from an injury too. So I think that there's a lot going on with that team, and I think Denver's the safe pick to make it out the West. I think that continuity will matter. I think Jokic will know exactly where his teammates will be. They'll know exactly where they need to be, and I think Phoenix will be trying to figure that out. And when the game slows down in the playoffs and it gets more to half court, that's what matters, not necessarily the transition play.
And that's where Jokic will just kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly want Denver too, but the more I got thinking about it, I just kind of had to go with Phoenix. But I'm not going to be mad whatsoever if Denver walks out with it.
JB, who do you have in the West?
Give me Phoenix. I really feel like they're just going for it all out right now, especially adding KD, and this will probably be Chris Paul's last chance that he can chase towards that ring, and they really want to get him one before this whole franchise. You might want to start retooling and tearing this whole thing down to see who we can trade off these value pieces for. But if I can pick a sleeper team out there, I kind of like Sacramento. Like, I don't know what it is about them, but they got it going on over there. You know, kind of like Sacramento.
Gelling. I think they're a couple pieces away.
Yeah,
they're almost there. I'm gonna go.
They're a great regular season team. Is how I look at them.
I'm gonna go the Nuggets. I think they win the West too. I mean, they're like Chris was saying, like they've been together and they've added pieces like Reggie Jackson, Bruce Brown. Like they have guys that like.
I forgot about Bruce Brown.
Yeah, like they have guys.
I love
if
Bruce
Michael
Brown.
Porter Jr. stays healthy, like he's a scary weapon. Like they have a team that could potentially be the best in the league, and if they all gel together, like. Jamal Murray's back from injury. Like you saw him 2 years ago in the bubble. Like that man was different. Like he's been different. And if you have him with Jokic, you have Reggie Jackson's on the team now. Like there's guys in that locker room that can win games, and they're veterans. I think it's the Nuggets year. I actually think they might win the championship this year.
Absolutely. Nobody said the Clippers though.
I was gonna say them or Memphis.
I was watching Kawhi the other night.
I was surprised, and I'm not. Again, picking your mind, JB. Why do you like Sacramento over a team like Memphis? Just because, like, when I look at it, I would kind of instantaneously put a team like Memphis, especially because how they are on defense, over Sacramento. So why do you like Sacramento more?
I don't know. I think they're just a different, fun team out there. Like they've been struggling for a while, and now it's kind of enlightening to see that they are finally getting the pieces together. You finally see all this working, building up, coming together. I know, as you guys said, it's going to take them maybe a year or two to finally get that fine-tuned piece for them to be elite in the West, but still at the same time it's very entertaining to see them right there. Another team that we didn't mention at all too, what about Golden State?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it earlier.
Yeah, I think it's just not their year. That's what I was saying earlier.
I will say we talked about Golden State and we didn't talk about Jonathan Kuminga, and that man he can be, I'm telling you.
He can be something.
In like 2 years, when we're talking about how Chris brought up how they can go finals, no playoffs, then finals.
He's the player. He's the
player that if they're
100%.
Just because he's such an athlete, and I just think his skill set's through the roof. I think I'd have to look.
You wonder if he's going to fall victim to the same thing Wiseman did, and just it's hard to get time on a championship team.
I mean,
like it's really hard to get the runway you need to develop.
Yeah.
Like unless you hit the ground running, it's a tough transition.
But I think just with the,
he's got.
Do they have a
guys
like what are you really gonna get for Kuminga, like that they can use day one? You know what I mean? In exchange.
You can easily get. If you look at it this way, Wiseman essentially got them Gary Payton II, who's a very good role player and was good for them in the finals, was a key piece for them win the championship. So why can't someone like Kuminga, who is clearly valued higher around the league, get you better than that.
But that's what I'm saying. With the age of Steph, Clay, and Draymond, why would you trade that when you know, like...
Because you're
like how you're saying, like Gary
because you're
Payton.
betting. The only reason you keep him is if you think that he can be a bridge star.
Are we talking about Jonathan Kuminga or like LeBron right now?
Well, it's being real. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be some perennial all-star, but when we're talking about a guy who, when you have Steph, Clay, Draymond, and you have another elite weapon that...
but you have a perennial all-star right now.
I mean,
and if he's not going to be that...
4 all-stars.
I know, I'm saying, but like,
if
a
he's
guy
not
that
going
can
to be
help
that
push
or
them,
close to that, then why are you trying to thread the needle and build the future? Because if he's not a star, then what are we doing here? You got Steph Curry, one of the 10 best players of all time now. Like, you have to build around that because you don't have something else.
He just said we were talking about. He just said, "Can we be serious right now? Can we just talk about Jonathan?"
I said,
Kuminga?
I know. I was saying we need to put some respect on his name because we went around and we talked about Andrew Wiggins, but right now, I think
I respect Kuminga.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I guarantee
He's
if you
just not a
watch
star.
Kuminga play a little bit, you'd be like, all right, this dude's nice.
He's
raw as fuck, pause.
Yeah.
But he has potential to be a really nice player in this league for sure.
Yeah, he's still young, and he's behind like 4 all-stars.
No, I got you. It's just when we talk about role players that can really help a team get pushed to the next level, I think he's that.
100%. All right, where do we want to go to next? We can stay NBA. We can go to.
We can stay on the NBA a little bit. I know.
I've got some Pistons things here that I want to.
If that's what you want to go
NBA
to?
draft too.
Oh, we gotta talk about that 70.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Oh,
Chris
you guys
wanted to
wanna
touch
talk
on the 70
ball.
piece.
That's the second 70 ball this season we've seen in the NBA.
Donovan being the first. Of course.
Donovan being the first, Damian Lillard being the second.
I've got a question. Is it more the 70-point games? Like, it's probably going to happen more often, I think, the next couple of years. You're going to see it a couple more times.
Well, that's been the conversation is, are we going to see 100 again?
I don't think so.
And I'm with you. I think
There's no way.
Everybody's saying yes because offensive efficiency is higher. The pace is higher in the league. It's the highest it's been since like the 70s and early 80s, back when the NBA was just a whole different breed. But the offensive efficiency is there. 3-point shooting is high. But the key to a 100-point game in today's NBA is, number one, you got to assume load management. Like, that's clearly a big thing in the NBA that people want fixed. So we'll see if that gets fixed. But there's that aspect of it. And with the 3-point shot, the other side to it is, you're getting more points, but there's more variance. We're seeing more blowouts than ever before. Like, the amount of 20-point, 30-point losses are happening so regularly because one night a team just doesn't have it from 3 and the other does. And what it took, remember Kobe getting that 81? Remember what it took? It was a close-ass game.
Yeah.
It was a close-ass game. That's what you need. You need the perfect storm. When Devin Booker got that 70 way back a couple years ago in Boston, it was because it was an epic comeback. Mm-hmm. Like, the variance of the 3-point shot is going to lead to more scoring outbursts, more 50s, more 60s, more even 70-point games, especially as the NBA is more ISO-driven now than ever before. So there's that part of it, but what's ultimately going to keep it from getting to the 100 marker is the variance of the 3-point shot. I just don't think you're gonna. I don't think you're gonna have that perfect storm where where a guy is scoring close to 100 points and his team is still down.
It would have to be some like multi-overtime type of deal. You know what I mean? Where it's like he had 70 going and like you were saying, perfect storm.
But if someone has 70, like it's typically like outside the Kobe one, it's going to be a blowout. Like Dame had the 70, but like if you were watching the game, they were up 15-20, and he just was still in the game.
Yeah, he was just cooking.
Yeah,
like that usually wouldn't happen. Like
the Donovan Mitchell one was close though.
Yeah, so
that was
like
a close game.
It's just like I don't know, like when Curry goes off, like you look at the Warriors, like when Clay goes off and Curry goes off, they put up 60 points in 3 quarters and they're done. Mm-hmm. So it's just, you know what I mean? I don't know. 100 points definitely won't happen. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think
it would just be
I don't think it'll happen. It'd be cool to see though.
Yeah. I mean, it'll have to happen eventually. because that perfect
Will
storm
it?
just with the
Well,
amount. I'm saying like
in our
5,
lifetime?
10, 15, like
And
it'll happen
probability-wise, I
eventually.
guess, but
Brother, I will tell you what, it is not happening.
If you don't think so,
He's a
fucking,
10,
he's
15
got the magic ball in front of him. He can see into the future.
100 is, I mean,
I get that, but
Imagine
we're just
if it happened,
talking
like,
about
tomorrow.
statistically, like the perfect situation. Maybe
before this
when
pod comes out, there's
happens.
just another 100 ball.
I
we just
would-
have
I
to cut
would
this.
be
We'll just, I edit it. I'll just cut it
Embiid's
out.
going crazy right now. He's just
SGA.
dominating in the paint.
That'd be wild.
You think Shea would? Shea's
Yeah.
your guy to get
I
100
love Shea.
points.
I
mean,
just love
like
Shea.
him.
He's carrying me in fantasy this year
Canadian.
because Cade Cunningham sold me. Speaking of the Pistons,
Relax. Yeah, well, yeah, brought it up. Get into your Pistons talk. You
Yeah,
gotta
no.
have this special segment just for him.
No,
Let's put
I
this in
mean,
there.
we already were going to talk about a little bit Pistons, right? We wrote that down. I have got
You wrote
guys,
that down.
100%. I did write it down because I have something here. I'm not worried about who's the crazy name kid from France. Not
Kuminga?
worried about him at all.
Victor wanna bang your mama.
Why did I just say Kuminga?
You're obsessed with this kid.
No, it's Wembanyama.
Yeah.
This is the thing, though, is all right. We're not guaranteed the first overall pick. We know that. Like, what you can get the percentages
Top
and get the
five.
chance in the lottery to be able to get the number one overall pick. I think people are going to be very set on Victor, right? Like,
They already are.
obviously we
As
know
you
like
should.
everyone's taking 100%. But my thing is, and I've talked to Jeff about this multiple times. He thinks the same thing is. Well, I guess he likes the same guy. Is if we don't end up with that number one overall pick, I don't think the Pistons fans should be worried at all. Because I think there's a guy at Alabama right now, and I know he's going through a lot of stuff, but Brandon Miller.
Hold the whoa. Slow your roll there.
What?
You're talking about the dude that just got caught up with the fucking like.
I mean, he's clear of everything.
Did he get cleared?
He is. I mean,
Oh,
he
he's
went through the
clear.
whole investigation.
I didn't see that.
The
I
athletic
thought-
department made sure
He's
of
not
it.
the one.
Trust
Like,
me.
his teammate's the one that killed someone. He brought the
Yeah,
gun.
I know, but, like,
they've investigated him.
But
He's clear.
okay, but let's still just take the situation to granted here. I'm not.
Yeah, all right,
I'd
take
have
the
to wa-
situation out. Let me talk basketball for a second about this kid. Let's be completely
He
honest.
dropped 42 that night.
Yeah, let's
He
be
did.
completely
He did-
honest
he
who
did
this
go
kid
crazy.
is. And let's zero mistake. I've talked
Put
to
me,
Jeff
put me
about
on,
this kid.
Booner. Put me on.
I've texted Jeff about this. Brandon Miller, here it is, 6'9", and Chris, I want your opinion too, because you're a big basketball NBA draft guy. 6'9", 200 pounds, small forward, can play the wing. He can play. He's basically positionless, right? He averages almost 20 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, a block. This is where things start to get interesting. He shoots at his size, 6'9", right, 200 pounds, not super big, but he shoots 43% from the 3-point line.
behind the arc.
And he takes over 7 attempts.
Yeah.
This kid is legit. He's athletic. The only problem he has is he just is not very strong right now.
Yeah.
And in the NBA, we all know you get to the NBA, you can put muscle on really easy. This guy
You can.
reminds me of a Paul George.
And this game is becoming more and more finesse. No, I'm all the way.
Imagine him though with Cade Cunningham, wings. Cade
Yeah.
Cunningham, him, Jaden Ivey. I'm drawing a blank. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart,
Yeah.
James Wiseman. Like, that is one of the best young cores. I'm not all caught up here on Victor. I'm not even going to sit here and be like, or
No,
like, the
I
draft's
think
over if you don't get
you're-
Victor.
you're
This
right.
Brandon Miller
You're
kid
100%
is so
right.
good, bro.
You're 1,000% right. I've been looking into the Brandon Miller situation. Like, I think he's a damn good player, and I would be happy if he was a Piston, because I think he is a great fit. He's a great basketball fit next to Cade Cunningham.
Yes,
But
100%.
I mean, this Victor Wembanyama dude. I mean, how can you not just look at him and like? I
I'm
get
with you.
I get it because there's an 86% chance the Pistons don't get Victor Wembanyama.
Who is
Nope.
lead? Is there a leading right now?
The Pistons are tied for the lead.
Yeah, and you
but
have to go
at
to the-
best, the lottery odds give you 14% chance at getting the number one pick.
And then that's where
So
that's
that
where
means-
I get this at is it's we
Yeah,
have a
you're
14%
preparing
chance
for- I
if we
get
get
that.
the second or third pick, this guy like the Pistons, and I think, like I'm saying, I just think Pistons fans and everyone around is going to be upset and mad, like, oh, screw the lottery. No, this Brandon Miller kid,
No,
you
he's-
could say Victor's great, yeah. Maybe he's actually a better fit for what we're building here. That's my look. Look at it that way. Like, who's going to be another wing with Cade? Like,
Yeah.
what? We already have a big guy with Jalen Duren and
Well,
Isaiah
that's
and
the
James
thing about
Wiseman.
that's the thing about
Add
Victor is
another
he can
wing on
play
it.
perfectly with with Duren.
He
He
might
really
be the
could.
best fit in the draft for the Detroit Pistons. Completely
Oh,
honest, Brandon Miller, like he is going.
he's
to be,
awesome.
and I do think if Victor, like people talk about how skinny he is, his injury, if he gets hurt, Brandon Miller might be the best player come out of this draft.
I mean, yeah,
I would be stunned. I would be stunned if Victor is not the best player in this draft. And I get the injury history when it comes to big men, but this dude, like Booner, I'm gonna send you a podcast you gotta listen to after. Like this dude is incredible. Like he is.
I've seen the high. I mean,
he is all worth. And I know that this is our generation's LeBron, like to prospect to buy into all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. So, and I get with that kind of hype, it's very rare to live up to it. But this kid, I truly believe he's a real deal, and I would take all the gambles in the world to find out. But your point is that Brandon Miller is a great consolation prize, and one Pistons fans should not be upset about.
Yes.
Scoot Henderson, you can argue the fit with Detroit, but he's a damn good player too. This draft class has three really great players, and I mean, even when you go further into the wings, like the Thompson twins and all of that, you still have a lot of value all across this top like 6.
All I wanted.
It's an awesome draft class.
Only thing with this Brandon Miller thing is I just wanted to tell Pistons fans, like, if we don't get the number 1 overall pick,
don't cry.
Do not be worried at all because Brandon Miller is a dog.
Unless the only time you cry is if Indiana jumps and gets the 1.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Then you gotta see that. Think about it. You gotta see Giannis, Victor Wembanyama,
Donovan Mitchell.
That Cleveland team with Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, all of that, and who knows what the remnants of the Chicago Bulls will be.
Boston.
But no, that's your division.
Oh, I know, but then get outside of that. You have Boston, who's young, Miami in the East.
Right. But I'm just talking your division. You have to play each of those teams 4 times.
You don't want him to be honest.
12 of your 16 games of the season, you have to play either Victor Wembanyama, Giannis, or that star-studded Cavs team. That is brutal.
I don't want him to even fall in the East, if anything.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather a West team get him so we don't even have to worry.
But then if he goes to OKC with all that draft capital they got, San Antonio with all the draft capital they got, and the nice players they got a damn good squad.
It's interesting. I just wanted to throw that out there with the Brandon Miller thing. I
can't wait to see where Wembanyama goes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I just wanted to make sure, like, that was something I've been thinking about the last week. I've been texting with Jeff about it. Like, this guy is legit. He put up the 40, obviously, and there's all this controversy. But I still think, like, that's someone you have to take a look at. So, all right. Let's head out some NFL. Go back to the NFL here. Some combines this week. This is going to come out after the combine's done.
Probably. Well, I mean,
so players will test. I guess.
I think Saturday, Sunday is the last days.
Yeah,
so
and this will probably come out Sunday. So we'll do this here. We have quarterback comparisons here, kind of in the NFL draft. We have 2 different scenarios. First one here we're going to go through is Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud. And first, JB, what's the time looking like?
We are at 57 minutes.
Okay. So we should probably go through these quick, huh?
Fuck it. Just do what we normally do.
All right. So we'll just do this. We'll do the trade stuff next week.
Bet.
All right. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Lucas. Who do you kind of break it down a little bit? Choose one, and why did you choose that player?
Ohio State fan, and I definitely was more of a diehard Ohio State fan when I was younger. After the Cardell Jones, JT Barrett era, I kind of disconnected a little bit. Still tuned in, but I can tell you from tuning in that C.J. Stroud is probably the least excited I have been about a quarterback prospect. Probably, like, just with the amount of hype that he has. I get that he's a talented quarterback. There's no lack of talent, but the thing with C.J. Stroud that Bryce Young does have along with the talent is up here and just his mentality to just be clutch in big situations and put his team, regardless of the talent, in the best situation to win. I think if you take Ohio State's receiving room, which is the best in the country over the last 2 years, I think C.J. Stroud struggles. I understand that he puts up all these stats, but he is throwing to wide open receivers, and he's hitting them in stride, and they are accurate balls. But these wide receivers are open, and when they're not, and he has a defender in his face, C.J. Stroud's completion percentage plummets. And when you are going into the NFL, having a wide open receiver is rare. Just where a guy absolutely burns them, you're going to have defenders in your face consistently. And when you talk about today's NFL, C.J. Stroud athletically brings you nothing more than, I wouldn't even say Dak Prescott. Like, he is by far one of the most least mobile Ohio State quarterbacks we've seen over the last decade. So now you're getting a guy with a great arm, not a lot of, like, he doesn't have that dog in him, and he doesn't have mobility. And I just think at pick numbers 1 through 10, it's a risk. I understand that he's a sure thing, but I think it's a risk. So I'm taking Bryce Young for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. And I think it's like a lot of the same scenarios. I think a lot of people would kind of go through it is, like, you look at Bryce Young's career at Alabama. He's had receivers, yeah, but, like, compare him and C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's had the receivers. Bryce Young technically has with some Bama guys.
Yeah, but not
Bryce
to the
Young
same
has
level.
gone out, though, and he has won a Heisman Trophy. He's won a national championship. Went into big games, and he's won those big games. Like, he's done what C.J. Stroud couldn't do at Ohio State. And in Ohio State, he's not playing. C.J. Stroud isn't playing in the SEC. He's playing in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And like every single big game that he's ever played in, Michigan twice, Georgia, Oregon at home, he's lost all of those games.
That is my
He
point.
has not won a big game in his career yet. And you could say, oh, there's a couple ranked teams he's won.
That's what you do
I
at
don't
Ohio
like-
State, though. Like, when you are a Ohio State quarterback, besides Justin Fields, because he transferred from Georgia, my opinion about Ohio State quarterbacks, especially being a fan there, is they're kind of like born on third base. You are coming in to the team that is by far the most dominant over the last decade in the Big Ten, and as a quarterback, you always have a bell cow as a running back, if not 2 to 3 of them. And with Brian Hartline, you have the most well-coached and talented receiving room in the country. So you don't even have to have a dominant defense to win the Big Ten. In the SEC, you are going to need a defense to win it. And so C.J. Stroud is put on this pedestal, and he's succeeding, as he should. But when shit hits the fan, we have seen consistently, especially, what are you supposed to do as a quarterback at Ohio State? Beat Michigan. What has C.J. Stroud not done that Justin Fields did do, and he had the mobility to do it?
It's not even just like beat Michigan. It's C.J. Stroud plays in a game like Ohio State, Michigan every other week in the SEC. He goes and plays a top 10 Tennessee team, an LSU team that won the national championship. Like, he constantly is going and playing these games week after week in the SEC, and he wins those games. He's won a Heisman doing that. He's won a national championship doing that. It's just like C.J. Stroud's going to play Minnesota on the road. He's going to play Penn State at home. Like, he's
almost
playing
losing to
Rutgers.
Northwestern.
Yeah, like he
Can't talk.
It's just I don't know. He has the tangibles and he has the potential, but I think Bryce Young has proven what he can do, and I think C.J. Stroud has had it given to him to where, hey, go win this Michigan game. You have the talent to do it. And hasn't done it twice.
I think C.J. Stroud, I think his ceiling, for one, I think he's a quarterback that can get you into the playoffs, but I don't think C.J. Stroud is ever going to get you to a Super Bowl. I could never imagine that, and if it does, he would have to land into the perfect situation. And Bryce Young is a guy that I don't necessarily think he can get you to a Super Bowl, but he doesn't even have to be in a perfect situation. I think if he does land into a perfect situation, he could.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud, I don't see it happening.
I think Bryce Young could go anywhere and they can build around him. And
Yeah.
the C.J. Stroud, can he do that?
I think he's going to be like Kirk Cousins at his ceiling. I think
That's interesting.
realistically, his ceiling is Kirk Cousins. I think what he will be is like Ryan Tannehill.
Wow. Do you guys have anything with those two guys?
It's tough.
If you had to pick one?
It's tough because one, like you said, their ceiling is mid, and then the other can't ride roller coasters. So I'm really just conflicted about it.
I can't ride roller coasters.
Because he's talented. He's talented, but he can't go on the dragster.
There are quarterbacks, though, that have found success at that height. Like Russell,
What true success?
Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl.
This is where I get weary
Similar
about the
height.
height thing, because look at Russell Wilson, and I'm not trying to get on some weird shit right now, but look at how much thicker Russell Wilson is than Bryce Young.
Was
Look
he
at how
thick
much
his whole career, though?
But even at Wisconsin, bro, like Russell Wilson
Yeah,
was a
sure.
built dude, and Drew Brees. Drew Brees wasn't a mobile quarterback, so he wasn't taking those hits. Much thicker dude. He was 5'11". Kyler Murray, I would say he's like Bryce Young, and I was a really big Kyler fan, but I don't ever see Kyler Murray getting to a Super Bowl, and I sure as hell don't see him staying healthy.
Oh yeah, Colin
That's
Murray,
what it is. It's all jokes aside. I don't think that Bryce Young could stay healthy. I would, if I was a team that was looking for a quarterback this year. It's hard to like punt because I know it's not like the NBA where you can tank. Like you kind of just have to go for it.
Right.
But I'm not in love with any of these quarterbacks, and I think this could be one of those draft classes you look back at and you say, "Damn, there were no good quarterbacks in this draft class." There might be.
What do you think that is? We just touched on those two.
I'm right here, JB.
Oh,
Bryce
JB.
Young or CJ Stroud?
I'm going with Bryce Young here. Even though, no disrespect to CJ Stroud, just Justin Fields is the only anomaly that happens with Ohio State quarterbacks right now. They all seem to not either pan out in the NFL or they change positions to like wide receiver or something like that. Now, Bryce Young, arm strength, is kind of questionable, but the dude is a leader out there on the field.
Yeah.
He does come in clutch whenever you need to, but the disadvantage to him is he is short.
He is a tough kid too.
Short.
He's tough.
5'5", 5'3", some people say. Can't ride roller coasters, like Chris said.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm not trying to just shit on you, but as tough as you can be, as tough as you want, eventually your body's gonna catch up with you.
That's where it's at.
And
like the hits.
I don't know because Drew Brees, he's a tough guy, and that's kind of what made him him. Right?
He's a tough guy, but he was
like if you have that mentality, you're gonna be good.
He was built way different. He played in a different time where a quarterback, he had mobility when he was young, but he didn't use it and rely on it. I think Bryce Young is going to have to rely on it more than Drew Brees because Drew Brees is one of the most accurate passers we've ever seen in NFL history.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's just.
I agree, and that's what it is. Like all jokes aside, is like the long-term value of Bryce Young. Like, do I think Bryce Young can have a good couple years? Absolutely,
right.
But he's one of those guys.
The playoffs.
Like, not to be funny, but like in the NBA, Isaiah Thomas, not the Detroit Piston legend Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah Thomas in Boston, when he was playing amazing
for a little bit.
He was amazing, awesome player, fun story to watch. I was like a big fan of his, but I always said that players, when you are that disadvantaged physically,
there's naturally
losing a half a step means the world.
Yep.
And you saw with Isaiah Thomas, as soon as that hip injury got bad, he was done. And think about it, guys, he was flirting with an MVP. He was a top 5 MVP voter. And 2 years later, the guy can't get on the court.
Yeah.
And that's because he lost that one half a step. And when you're that small, that's all he had. That's what I worry about with Bryce Young.
I don't know if I can.
I just worry about that.
You can't say that you're not worried about Bryce Young getting hurt.
No, I'm not worried about him getting hurt. His size,
But that's what I mean.
But
his size is the reason he would get hurt.
It's
not
we didn't sit here for the last 2 or 3 years being like just waiting for Kyler Murray to get hurt.
We talked about him being able to see over his line. Realistically, if you're being smart, we're
not like oh, he's going to get hurt eventually. Like we never thought.
That's how you have to look at it.
No, but sometimes you have to. I did the same thing with Zion Williams. I really did.
Well, I knew he was going to get hurt because of his jumping ability. But
it's a quarterback, bro. Like if you are a quarterback, you are going to get hit when you're not running the ball because you have guys who, if you go to a bad O-line, which he is most likely going to do, because if he goes number 1 overall, he's going to Chicago. If he goes number 2 overall, he's going to Houston. Both those O-line blow fucking dick. So he's going to get hit. And so now you have the times where he's going to be rolling out, the times when he is getting sacked, and then the times where the dude's just getting thrown around after the play, which is going to happen because D linemen are going to be able to. Why? Because of his size. And in year 5, we've seen Lamar, who is much bigger than him, get hurt. We've seen Kyler, about the same size. He got hurt from a non-contact injury because he's running. So what's going to happen when he does have contact injuries? Because in the NFL, it doesn't matter what size you are going to get contact injuries.
Yeah, so that's a tough argument because every quarterback's going to get some type of injury.
So that's why I'm telling you, size matters. Pause, because if
hell yeah,
I had to realize what I was saying there.
Hell yeah, brother.
But so now you have if you have Josh Allen getting smacked by Aiden Hutchinson, do you think he's going to be able to stay healthy more than if Bryce Young gets smacked by Aiden Hutchinson? Like, be real. Like the impact of Bryce getting hit onto the ground and just getting crunched. He has less body there. It's more bone to bone, muscle to muscle.
It's literally just simple physics. That's all it is.
I see what you guys are saying. That's what I was trying to say. I understand. Like what Chris was saying, it's going to slow him down if he gets an injury. I do understand
maybe
that.
Not in year 2.
I just do still think he could still be good if Kyler Murray's not going to come back and he is already garbage, but you know what I mean? We weren't sitting here oh, he's small. He's gonna we were hey, he's small. I can't see. I don't know. That's how I look at it.
Kyler's not. I think Kyler was so dominant in college and he had such a rocket arm that we weren't really.
I mean, Bryce
you
Young
knew
won a
he was
Heisman
going
as well.
to get hurt, but the knock on Kyler was he's not going to see over the line. It's not more so like his talent was too overwhelming.
What's the knock like? Why are people higher on Kyler Murray coming out of college than Bryce Young?
Because of his arm.
That makes zero sense.
Kyler had the potential to go be an MLB
yeah,
all-star.
but Bryce Young, I mean, he won a Heisman, he won a national championship.
He did.
Kyler did,
because Kyler did it at Oklahoma. I'm not saying that Oklahoma's not.
Baker Mayfield did it at Oklahoma.
But that's what I'm saying. He did it. And Baker was crazy statistically.
Under an offense that was built around winning Heismans.
And that's why I'm saying Kyler Murray shouldn't be this overhyped quarterback out of college, but that's why he was, because he was putting up crazy numbers with this crazy arm, putting up crazy highlight plays. And I'm not saying that Bryce Young wasn't, but can we think of a Bryce Young play that reminds you of that Gus Johnson, Kyler Murray call when he's running down the sideline, making plays that are insane, like when he's literally running off the screen? Right. No, and I'm not saying that Kyler Murray should be talked about more than Bryce Young. I'm telling you that's why. It's just because he put up some crazy plays, some crazy stats,
if I had to pick
some
start
crazy
a franchise,
games.
I would pick Bryce Young over Kyler
I'd have
Murray.
to see him play first.
Maybe
now, as a prospect, I think you would have to go with
right
Kyler.
now. If you said who, I would pick Bryce Young.
They both got Heismans, and then Bryce did win a bowl, didn't they? Or am I tweaking? No, because Georgia won. So they didn't win a natty.
Bryce Young, he won a national championship.
Okay, so I'm not tweaking.
No,
so then the only thing that
won the natty.
That's what I was tweaking, thinking that Georgia did. So then Bryce does have the bowl, but if you think about it, how often does Oklahoma get to the national championship? And just because they're in the Big 12, they get overhyped in the regular season, then they get to real football, it's not going to happen. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think as a prospect, just off the eye test, what we saw in Kyler in college, I think Kyler put off the better eye test.
Hear him now, believe him later.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
I mean, I'm not gonna be I don't
no,
like
I see
Kyler.
what you're saying.
I don't
even
like
at
Kyler.
this point though. I don't even know what the argument is on it, because I would just say right now Bryce Young is the number one quarterback.
It's the argument on it.
I agree with that. I'm
Fields.
just saying that I wouldn't be psyched about him being the number one quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
There's two other quarterbacks.
100%. Yeah, touch on your boy. Touch on your boy. Pause.
Do you want to go into this one? Will Levis, Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, I mean, we'll go into it.
I've got a whole paragraph written here.
All right, so before Booner gets into his book, because I already know who he's going to be cockeyed in here, we got Will Levis and Anthony Richardson.
Get me going.
And I'm just, this really doesn't take much thought, or I should say detail than thought. I think both of these guys are huge risk. Obviously, I think most of the quarterbacks in this draft are risk. But I think without a doubt, the talent level, if these risks pay off, Anthony Richardson has the most potential and dominating quarterback ability out of the two. I don't love either of them, but just when it comes to the payoff, I think it's Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson's stats are worse than Will Levis, but Will Levis does not have good stats. So that's why I'm saying if you're just going to be comparing stats, it's comparing trash to trash. So you just got to take the poor man's trash and say which one of this can pay off better, and it's Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Literally everything about that is I think he's the ultimate risk reward. And when I said there could be no good quarterback in this draft class, Anthony Richardson could be the one that breaks that, or he could be the one that makes that true. Yeah. I honestly I don't know. He's got the tools,
but he's one of those guys where it's just
we'll see.
How doesn't he work? Just kind of like a Carson Wentz, like we were just talking, but he's way more athletic than Carson Wentz. Yeah. But he also, I think, has a way lower floor than Carson Wentz too.
I totally agree.
I disagree with both of you guys, to be completely honest. Here
we go. He stood up off the chair, by the way.
But this is the thing. So when we break it down, you can say Anthony Richardson has more of an upside, right? Yep. The thing is Anthony Richardson in college had the same, if not more, than Will Levis. Will Levis.
Hold on. Will Levis had Wan'Dale Robinson.
He had one guy.
But that guy was a fucking dog.
He had one guy. So, and you're like, all right, don't look at stats. Okay, we're going to look at size and all of that, right? 6'4", 6'3", both 230, right? They both have the same size. And then you want to look at, they both have potential to have a crazy arm, right? They both have the same thing. And Anthony Richardson obviously has more rushing yards. He can he can be on the ground. He has a lot more, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give him a little bit on that. But when you look at Will Levis going into the season, right? If you're looking at the next couple years, he's already played in a pro-style offense, and everyone talks about that at Kentucky.
But keep going.
No, we can go back and forth.
I think it's hard to say what the pro-style offense is today, and that
he literally
changing.
His OC the year that he had success last year was Liam Cohn, who worked for Sean McVay.
I get that, but
he brought Sean McVay's offense to Kentucky. They used that offense last season. He went back to LA and is coming back this year. He literally ran this very, very similar offense as the Los Angeles Rams.
I understand that, but I'm saying he's probably not going to follow the Rams for one.
I'm not saying to the Rams, but that's like a pro style. Like you look at Green Bay, they run a Sean McVay type thing. You look at Washington, like all of these different teams right now are starting to adapt. Ben Johnson, like they all run these styles of offenses where Will Levis has done that, and he's shown last year he can produce like that. He had last year, well, let me see, and I'll pull up his stats just because I want to be able to show you the difference when he was playing that pro style. Last season, 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. And then when you look at this next year, he loses his OC to the Rams, right? Mm-hmm. He goes back to the Rams. He loses almost his whole offensive line is completely different.
And
he doesn't have an offensive line. And then you look at his receivers. He has one receiver.
And he was
no one else. The highest receiving yards in the whole season is 600 yards from a receiver. And then his starting running back is out for like 8 games this season. Like he had nothing at Kentucky this year. On top of that, he's playing in the SEC, just like Anthony Richardson, except he's doing it with way less. He lost his OC. He doesn't have weapons. He doesn't have his offensive line, their sack percentage is 12% on the season, which is 4th worst in the whole college football.
I'm not disputing any of that, but I'm saying we can't act like. So are you Will Levis is a lock?
If you're going to say, I want to take Will Levis, if you're sitting there at 6 and you want to take a quarterback and you want to go Anthony Richardson or Will Levis, 10 times out of 10 times you have to go Will Levis.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't. And I'm not even an Anthony Richardson stat, but just go off. And if you are going to take a risk on one of these quarterbacks, let's say because
why would you take a risk?
Detroit Lions fan, because let me finish. I'm going to tell you why. Because we can't say Anthony Richardson and Will Levis both have strong arms, right? Neither of them put up good stats.
That's a lie. Because Will Levis did it for a year.
You can't
Anthony
say that
Richardson hasn't done it for 1 year at all.
You can't say those are overwhelming, number one.
But they're 24 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
You just said he was a pro-style offense with a guy who went back to the league. I'm not knocking him, but I'm saying there could have been other quarterbacks that could have put up better numbers around the country. So you take that. Anthony Richardson is way more athletic. So you have similar arm. Anthony Richardson is way more athletic. And neither of these guys are probably going to be able to start week 1 in the NFL, no?
You say way more athletic. What are you going to do? You just want him to run the ball the whole time for your offense?
Not even. No.
Will Levis can do the similar thing.
No. Will Levis is a great athlete, but that's what I'm saying. We have not seen a quarterback like Anthony Richardson's athleticism. I'm not saying the overall prospect, but pure athleticism. If you are going to, because in my opinion, neither of these guys are ready to start week 1 in the NFL. So if you are going to make a project quarterback, Anthony Richardson gives you all the tools that you could possibly want out of a quarterback project, because he has that elite athleticism along with the size. We talk about the athleticism of Kyler Murray and Bryce Young. Anthony Richardson has that, and he's built just like Will Levis, and he has the arm of it.
Bro, the thing is this is my thing. The thing is with Will Levis and Anthony Richardson hasn't shown you, he has an arm. He hasn't shown you that he can be accurate in a game-like scenario. But Will Levis has done that for 2 seasons, and you could say, he's throwing all these interceptions. That was just decision-making. That's something that can be fixed.
Will Levis's interceptions weren't even on him most of the time.
That's what I'm saying. That's something that can be fixed.
Right.
But when you look at Anthony Richardson, he hasn't even shown you he can be accurate and go win football games for your team. Will Levis did that last season. He's done it a little bit this year if you watch the film. He's shown he can be accurate.
I'm with you, bro.
I don't care if he can go out and run for 300 yards and lose a game, and he can throw bombs down the field for 70 yards. I want a guy that's accurate. I want a quarterback that's going to go out there, lead your team, be accurate, move around in the pocket, can make those 40-yard, 50-yard bombs just like Anthony Richardson, and he can throw accurate passes around the field and move your team up the field and win a game. Will Levis has shown he can do that when he has the people around him, when he has the OC, when he has the receivers, when he has the offensive line, when he has a running back. He did it last year. People knock him in low. His stats are bad. His stats are bad.
But because
look at the situation he was in. He had the worst offensive line. He had 0 time to throw the ball.
But it's not like Anthony Richardson had Marvin Harrison out there. And what I'm saying is,
I mean,
neither of these guys, neither of these guys are going to be number one picks, right?
Chris,
so they are going to fall to a team with good situations compared to like.
Anthony Richardson, out of his 12 games, how many times do you think he threw a quarterback that you want to take in the first round? How many times do you think he's thrown for over 200 yards?
I'll say 4.
Over.
What do you think, Jay?
I'll say 4.
What do you think? A first-round quarterback that you want to be
Because I'm
leading
guessing by his
the
argument
Detroit
that's going to be
Lions.
underwhelming. The number.
What, 8? Around 8, 10?
8. He
gonna,
went low.
He's
He
gonna
hit it right on the
pull
spot
out
there.
his mind all
But
three
what are we
stats
talking
here,
about here? Like,
because we're not
this
talking
man is
about,
like going
we just
into a game
admitted
and
that
throw
both the
130
stats,
yards.
both the stats are not good. Right?
Except Will Levis has proven he can do it.
Just hold on and just hear me out. Both of the stats are not good, and this is where I'm coming from. So they are project quarterback. So they are going to go to a team that is most likely going to sit them if the teams have any idea of what's going on with the NFL.
So why not take the guy that's already shown he can throw accurate, who has an arm,
because you're
who
taking
has the
it,
size,
if you're taking
who has
a
everything,
risk,
and then the guy who hasn't done any of that, and just be like, oh, he has a crazy arm and he can run. Why would you just want to say, oh, let's take that risk? It's not a risk you're just going to take where it's like, oh, if it doesn't work out, oh well. You're taking a first-round pick, and you're picking a quarterback with your 6th pick.
Who do you think?
And you're hoping that he's your guy after Jared Goff. You're not just going to go, I'm going to go take Hendon Hooker and just take a shot at him.
Because nobody wants fucking Hendon Hooker because he's 25 and has no torn
saying, oh, his
because
upside is
just
big.
answer
Why
this
take the
question
chance
for
with
me.
Anthony Richardson?
Answer this question for me, and it doesn't have to be your end all or be all.
Okay.
Who do you think has a higher ceiling, Anthony Richardson or Will Levis?
Will Levis.
That's where we disagree, and that's fine. That's
why.
why.
He's shown he can.
I'm saying a ceiling is what you have not yet seen. So I would say Will Levis has a higher floor for sure. I will give you that. But that's where I come in my opinion, and say, okay, if I'm gonna risk,
if you're gonna take a gamble big.
If I'm gonna go all in. And what I've seen out of Anthony Richardson, let's say if he goes to a coordinator like Ben Johnson that's able to slow the game down for him after 2 or 3 seasons, he doesn't need to be chucking the ball 70 yards. He can be chucking it down to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And when that's not open, naturally the threat of his athletic ability is going to stir the defense up. So now guys are getting open a little bit
when he's
more.
not as accurate as someone else and he just can't get the ball to him, then you're just going to be like, oh.
But that's what that's what you have to be okay with risking on. And I'm going to risk it on one of them, that's who I'm risking it on.
You keep saying risk it. This is
because they're both risks.
No, hear me out, bro. This is your 6th overall pick. Who's more risky? Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Anthony Richardson,
100%.
to your point, is 10 times more risky.
That's why
I would rather go with the guy that has the same arm, that has put more stats up in college, has proven himself more in an offense similar to the Lions, that when he has the weapons in the line, he's proven it already, compared to a guy with my 6th overall pick that has not shown any of that, and just hope that he has an arm, he can run.
But like
hopefully
you just said, like,
he is that guy. Will Levis has already shown, I think, sparks of it. Like he's already went out there and has done that. That is what I'm trying to say.
What I'm saying, if you look at the statistics, no, you have not seen Anthony Richardson do anything. But if you look at the games when Anthony Richardson is clicking, and I'm not saying on a statistical standpoint, I'm saying there's no way we can really stop this guy when he's doing it right. And if you can get a coach, which is, I don't think it's a guarantee by any means.
I mean, I'm looking at the games here. Like, what game? Like, I would love for you to break down film and show me a game to where he's like,
I'd have to go back and remember.
His best game of his career is versus Vanderbilt, the worst team in the SEC.
Say, if I
like,
could
what are
be
we
wrong,
talking about with this guy?
I could be wrong. I want to say it was against South Carolina, but I could be wrong.
South Carolina, 112 passing yards, 96 rushing. I don't know what to say about this guy.
Because
Utah, he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Like, I see what you're saying. Like, he gives you another dimension to the game.
And that's what I think.
If we're looking at a quarterback where you're taking with 6 overall,
because
you can't trust this guy.
But like you just said, my point. You have a quarterback with the same. I think, in my opinion, you can say what you want, just on arm strength. A better arm than Will Levis. Will Levis is more accurate, but now you have a quarterback that can bring something somewhat similar and then
Okay.
another dimension.
So you're saying like arm strength?
Yeah.
Okay, so Will Levis has the same exact thing.
No, I just said Will Levis is more accurate. I think Anthony Richardson has a slightly stronger arm.
The only thing different is he has more rushing yards and he is more athletic.
But we're banking on the ceiling, not the
Like,
floor.
his
If you're
last
banking
game
on
of
the
his
floor,
career-
don't even draft the fucker.
His last game of his career, 9 completions for 27 attempts.
They're bad. We talked about we're not going off the stats. We're going off the potential ceiling that's there. And Anthony Richardson is way. I didn't see it.
I see. Yeah, like
watch.
I don't know what to say. Like
smug.
Like, are we all just
I
gonna
didn't
sit
see
here and
what
act
you're
like this
talking
man
about.
has shown us something insane?
I'm admitting like your points. Like I'm not saying that Anthony Richardson is a smoking Will Levis. Will Levis is the more safer pick, but Will Levis can easily be a bust.
They have Anthony Richardson can be more of a bust than Will Levis. So why take the more risk?
Because he can be way more of a payoff.
No, he cannot. That ceiling is very similar.
You just meant he's way more of a risk, so that means he is way more of a payoff naturally.
No,
that's just how.
No, that's not how it works.
Please,
because you're taking him at 6 overall.
You're delusional.
You're taking him at
You're
6
delusional.
overall. No, want to hear me out?
You're like Carroll the other night.
The reason he's a bigger risk. One,
Shut up.
The reason you're taking him, it's a bigger risk. You're taking him at 6 overall, and 2, it's because he hasn't shown you anything that Will Levis has.
If you look at the stats, no. But I'm saying if you look at his natural skill set that he brings to the game of football.
I think both of you guys have made your points. I really think both of you guys have made your points. Booner, you did a hell of a job. You did a hell of a job.
You brought the catalog out.
I mean,
you did
a good job.
You did a great job. I can't go with the motherfucker that puts fucking mayo in their coffee. Like
that's the only argument.
That's all.
That's my counter.
I mean, this is
Anthony Richardson. No,
Anthony Richardson hasn't.
No,
I mean, this is unbelievable. Just
I would honestly. You made a hell of an argument, and I'm totally with your logic. I'm totally with your logic. I would just, from my knowledge or lack thereof, would lean towards Anthony Richardson just because I think that he does have a higher ceiling, and I would be more. I would be more of the gamble.
You gotta open your eyes.
But why are you hell of an argument?
Like
if you guys
Matt sent me that video, and I was open to hear it out.
Yes, if you break it down,
Booner won the argument. Hands down.
If you show me some film,
there's no winning that argument. They both are enormous risk.
The only argument anyone with Anthony Richardson has is
his talent,
his talent and his ceiling.
And then you go to Will Levis, if it's a risk, that's something
Will Levis has the same ceiling, has the same similar talent, a little less. Why are we risking it all at number 6 for a guy that went 9 for 27 versus Florida State?
Hypothetically, we have to. I don't want to.
His best game is versus the worst SEC school.
What is Will Levis' best game? What is Will Levis' best game where he just lit up the
I mean, he did it consistently his junior year.
What happened to the season where he should have been? Chris is talking.
Booner. I'm gonna have to on this one. I'm gonna have to
Tennessee,
hear you now.
372 yards, 3 touchdowns. Let me see what Anthony Richardson did versus Tennessee. Anthony Richardson went off versus Tennessee.
Dude, like they're both like.
Bro,
you just gotta just breathe for a second. We're not saying anything you said was wrong. Just come to.
You don't know what you're saying.
Come to accept that we just look at it differently than you.
It's ride or die.
I'm gonna be the one person in the world.
You have been watching this Will Levis stock fly up from the gambling world, and you're day by day. I see why he's now at plus 250 from plus 225. Just relax.
Was that supposed to be me?
That's how you came in the other day.
I've
been on the front lines watching this Will Levis trade.
I have. I don't know what else to say. Like I've probably watched up there to close college most college.
So this is exactly why we're telling you just hop off the Will Levis bus for 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We're not telling you that you're wrong. He even said that you might have won.
Might have. He said I did.
I said he did.
So
let's wrap it up. We'll talk about this next.
I'm gonna have to hear you now and believe you later.
Believe me later. All right, appreciate you guys all.
Appreciate you guys.
That is episode 2, really episode 5 if we're being honest, or 4. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe. I think we're at like 30 subs right now. We're trying to get to 100 soon. Yep. So make sure you subscribe. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. Love you all.
Peace.